Good morning. My name is Joe Saffron. I'm the county recorder, and thank you, Michelle, for telling us where Duke was. Because this is his hometown, so I kind of figured he'd be here. But that's okay. We know where he's at now. I'm the county recorder, and again, I'm seeking this is my second term. I'm seeking for the county recorders. We're running this year with, everyone knows Matt Weintraub. He's the district attorney. A fantastic job he just did with the horrible case up in Salisbury Township with Gennaro. And we also have Mike Gallagher. He's the county controller. And Colleen Strunk, she's the pathonetary, running for pathonetary. She has a lot of history in the county. She's been there for a long time, so she'll be great, fantastic at this job. And we also have, Donnelly. He's our county sheriff. He's been there for a long time, and he's a resident of Northampton Township. So I'm sure you guys will be supporting him very strongly. And we also have Jeff Trauger. He is running for a Court of Common Pleas judge. And we're running strong. We're running hard. We've been out every night. We're out every day. It's like constant. I don't even know. We went home tonight and changed and just put a new shirt and tie on, and we're back out. We'll be going until late tonight again. One thing that I wanted to bring up and let everyone know its attention is like in my office here and with the support of the other county row officers, even the ones that are not running for office right now, we have a program in the county which is also known as the Bucks County Tour of Honor, where we take our veterans down to Washington, D.C. This tour is coming up on October 2nd, so if anybody would want to participate or help us out, it's down at Parks. The mission of this here in the county program is only for one thing and one reason only, is to take veterans down to World War II, the Korean memorials, to honor them for their service that they did to our country. It's a very successful program, and we're looking forward to this trip. We do have 156 veterans going on October 2nd, and quite a few of them are from Northampton Township. So if you guys want to get down there and help us out, please do so. It's on October 2nd. It's at 6 o'clock in the evening when we get back from Washington, and show your support. In fact, there's a lot of committee people and residents of Northampton Township that do come down and participate, and so we would hope that everybody who can make it down there, we'd be happy to have you down over this. And again, we're running strong. County tickets running strong. All we got to do is get our vote out, and we should be okay in November. So, anybody has any questions or anything like that, we'd be happy to answer them. I hope you direct them all to Mike. He's the controller, so he's the one with the money. Okay, thank you very much for having us. And
an approach like that, thank you, Joe. It gives us some more time for the local township office candidates. So we ask, if we can, the candidates to keep it to about 3 or 4 minutes if they can, and tell us about themselves, and then we'll have questions at the very end for the township candidates. And if we can start with Judge Bill Benz.
Good morning, everyone. I believe everybody in here knows me, so I don't know how much of my history I want to go into, but I do think it's appropriate. The cards that are on your tables that say vote for Judge Benz November 7th are there to remind everybody to come out and vote on November 7th. It's important that the Republicans get people out to vote. So that's there. But on the flip side of that card is a long list which contains my public service, honors and awards, and community service. So if you would kindly review that at your leisure, you'll see the kind of commitment that I have had throughout my lifetime, throughout my career, to Northampton Township and to the community that I've been a part of. Now, 12 years ago, I stood in front of this same association and pledged that I would make the job of magisterial district judge my first priority. Since then, I've been elected twice by the voters, and since then, I have followed that pledge. I have lived up to it in every way. The main theme of my opponent seems to be that I am a part-time judge. Well, let me tell you that there is no such thing as a part-time judge. I am on duty from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 days a week. I am on night call every 10 weeks, which means that I am on duty all night and 24 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday. I have fulfilled, I added it up on my way over here, 60 weeks of my life I've spent getting up at midnight and 4 a.m. to come out and arraign people for preliminary arraignments. I'm totally committed to this job. It is my first priority. Please tell your friends and neighbors to come out and vote for me. Now, I am having, just a final word, I am having a fundraiser, and that too is in front of you. And it happens to be here on Sunday. We're going to watch the Eagles games on these screens, and Tony tells me he's going to put 70-inch screens outside. So I think we're going to fill this room. I think we're going to fill that patio. But we're only going to do that if some of the people in this room, or maybe all the people in this room, attend the event, encourage their friends to attend the event, sell tickets for the event. So I'm pushing for that. That will help us to advertise, pay for the mailers that we have to pay for in any campaign. So are there any questions? I know you said you wanted to wait for questions later. I have a 9 o'clock court schedule that starts at 9 o'clock. Okay. Yes, Michelle.
Are you a licensed attorney in Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah, I'm a licensed attorney in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's not on here, but I am a licensed attorney. This is just my private thing. Okay, yeah, I should have said that. Okay, so I'm an attorney. I thought everybody knew this, but I've been practicing law for 37 years. Okay, I went to law school. I spent 3 years of my life dedicating my life to the study and knowledge of the law. I've been learning the law for 37 years. There's more law out there to know than any person in a lifetime can gather into their head. Okay, but I've accumulated quite a bit of experience. I've got 12 years on the bench, and I guess I didn't come up here to knock my opponent, but really if you compare our education, legal background, and judicial experience, there's no comparison between us. So, oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is my completion ratio, my average completion ratio for cases is 100%. So that means my average annually, 100% of the cases that come in get disposed of. Okay? I don't know how you do any better than that. The schedule that we have is based upon the police officer's schedule. Okay? So we don't, am I taking too much time? I just want to, yeah, I just got the cut sign. Okay, so.
You have the courtroom, Your Honor.
Thank you. That's as it should be. So, just joking, just joking. So, what I was saying was that we schedule our cases based upon the police's schedule, meaning that we only schedule them to come in when they're on duty. I don't know if you know this, but the police, if they come in to a courtroom off duty, they get paid time and a half and a minimum of 3 hours. So I've been doing that since I started. It's a statewide practice. All magisterial district judges do it to save the taxpayers money. My opponent's saying he's going to do it. I don't know whether he doesn't know that I already do it or that he knows it and doesn't, you know, particularly care, but I don't want to, again, I didn't come here to run down my opponent. Any other questions?
Judge, have you arranged for us to watch a win for the Eagles on Sunday?
What's that?
Have you arranged for us to watch a win for the Eagles on Sunday?
A win? Well, yeah, I can't guarantee a win. The Chiefs look pretty tough after they beat the Patriots, right? Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to guarantee. Sorry, I can't do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. For re-election as township supervisor.
I have to correct you on that actual election. I was, after George Komolowski died, I was unanimously appointed by the other members of the board to take his place. So I'm running now just for the completion of that term, which is 4 years, and Andy will be running for the 6-year term. Little background, I've been a resident of the township for about 18 years. 3 of my 4 children and their families live here in Northampton. We're committed to Northampton. So I care about what happens now. I care about what happens for the future of Northampton. I'm a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel. I think you pick up a few things in military service: discipline, I hope integrity, leadership, and some management skills. I believe that my military experience certainly has helped me there. I have a master's degree in public administration, so I'm committed to public administration. That's what I do. In this township, I served on the Zoning Hearing Board, the Veterans Advisory Commission, and early on I was on the School Districts Act 1 Commission. I think as far as the issues go, starting in January of 2014, Northampton started moving forward again, not away from what looked like bad reality TV at some of the meetings. And a lot of things were done, I think, improvements in the roads, the township, the opportunity to grow businesses, and even just a change of the name from more, getting away from industrial park to a business center, and changing what could go in there. And that was a job done by Barry, Larry, Eileen, and George at that time, pushing those issues. And they did a great job with it. That's why Andy and I selected as our campaign theme, Moving Northampton Forward. We want to continue to build on the work that I think these supervisors have done. And that's what we're committed to do. Thank you.
Township Supervisor.
Good morning, Andrew Gannon. I'm a 40-year resident. I was born and raised in the house my mother grew up in. Currently, I'm a senior business analyst with Canon Solutions America, where my job is to use process, technology, and solutions to streamline and save money for businesses. And that type of mentality is what I want to bring to government, and specifically to Northampton. Currently, I sit on the Township Planning Commission. I'm the treasurer for the Friends of the Churchill Nature Center. I coach my daughter's soccer and basketball teams. I'm also now the entertainment director for Northampton Days. And in my spare time, I have a job, so trying to run for supervisor is yet another almost full-time job, and I enjoy it. My wife not so much, that I'm out so much, but we really need your support on November 7th. It's an easy date for me to remember. It's my wedding anniversary, and my wife says, you better win. You're putting all this effort in, and I want to have a good anniversary. So we really appreciate your support on Tuesday, November 7th.
Speaker is Liz Yaus, I hope I'm saying that right, running for the Township Auditor.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Yaus. I've lived in Churchville for 15 years. I have 2 boys at Council Rock South, so I've been very involved with PTO and Cub Scouts all these years. I currently work at a medical device company. I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for over 20 years. I'm on the steering committee for a networking group called PA Biopharma Networking Group. If anyone is in the pharmaceutical industry, please let me know. I'm happy to talk to you about that. I've been involved in local politics for about 5-6 years. I'm the committee woman for District 4. And about 2 years ago, I was also unanimously nominated to fulfill another auditor's term. She moved, and now I'm running to complete the auditor's term.
Here's Bob Hickey, running for the school board.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I moved up to Northampton with my wife back in 1992, and I have 8 children. They've all attended Council Rock High School. I've been involved in a lot of local, community, and school-related functions over the past 26 years. Coached at Northampton baseball, basketball, and soccer. I was involved with a committee years ago, a planning commission at the school, that recommended a lot of the changes that were not implemented that you see going through. Once again, there have a lot of talk about a planning commission. We were involved in one 3 years ago that made some recommendations to the school board that basically weren't taken. I was also involved with a group with the school that was able to have all the kids from Richboro Middle School attend one of the high schools instead of splitting them up. I'm not a politician. This is my first foray into something like this. Something I always wanted to get involved in. I've always been involved with kids and children. I currently serve on St. Pete's CYO board. I'm a business manager for a small electronics company in Warminster, and I have a tough race in front of me. I'm looking forward to it. So far, it's been a very interesting and rewarding experience, and I'm looking for everybody's help and look forward to seeing you.
On our list of candidates, I know Mark Bialik, you want to just say hello and why you don't need to talk much?
Well, thanks, Jerry. Well, the neat thing about running for school board, district judge, common pleas judge, is that we have the opportunity to do what's called cross file, so we can be on the Republican ballot and the Democrat ballot, because it's supposed to be an apolitical position. And when you do that, at certain times, you can win both the Republican ballot and the Democratic ballot in the primary, which I did in the spring. So I don't have any opponent. It's wonderful. Thank you. But be sure to vote. Be sure to pay attention. Be sure to ask questions, and call your school board directors. We have
Questions? Do we have any questions from the room for any of our candidates? All right, I'm going to prompt that. How about Lynn? Think of something. Softball or fastball? What do we want to know? There's a lot of issues going on. Yeah, Mel Smith.
Yeah, I guess the hot topic right now at the school board is the redistricting and closing Rolling Hills and all that. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that, Mark?
Sure, I can give you insight, and I don't know if you want Bob's opinion as a candidate first, but so the board has voted to instruct the administration to move forward with closing Rolling Hills. So what that means is we have a hearing scheduled on September 19th, next Tuesday, and then there's a requirement of 30 or 90 days that there cannot be a vote held, and then anytime after that 90 days, the board can take a formal vote to close those schools. If you're paying attention, you know that the other school board director in the room and I, Denise Brooks, well, she's not here, I'm sorry, but well, Denise and I have been the only vocal opponents to closing Rolling Hills. So it looks like we're heading down that path, unless the community gets involved. And as you know, the supervisors did a proclamation. Is that the right word, proclamation?
Resolution.
Resolution, thank you. Resolution saying that it's not the right thing for the community, and I believe that. I think it's the wrong thing for Northampton. I think it's the wrong thing for the district as a whole, and that's why I said please contact your school board directors, because there may be an opportunity to swing it. I don't think, even if there's a small savings to be had, the discussion is around saving $2.5 to $5 million in capital costs and $460,000 a year. If you've been paying attention at all, I have not voted for any tax increase. I am certainly, I believe, a fiscal watchdog, but I'm here to tell you that even if we're able to save $5 million of capital costs and $460,000 a year, it is not worth the cost of what we're going to do to this community. So contact your school board directors and let them know that. As far as redistricting, that's yet to be, no. So the door is wide open as far as possibilities. What I believe is there is no way that we are not going to move Northampton kids to the northern sending area. So at least 180 kids are going to come from Richboro Elementary School, Maureen Welsh Elementary School, and then have to attend Newtown Middle School and Council Rock North. A driving issue is parity between the two schools. And we've decided, I didn't vote for this, but the board decided to build two middle schools, Newtown Middle School being a new school, Holland Middle School having renovations. The combined total between the two, about $105 million. $105 million. Joe, I said, show your face. But we have two equally sized schools, middle schools. So there's no option but to move Northampton kids to Newtown to balance out those schools. But that's got to be part of the redistricting discussion. We're supposed to have a committee of 2 representatives for each school that's going to work with the administration, our assistant superintendent and Barry Desco, our head of curriculum, to make sure that it's done efficiently. That's really supposed to be starting right now, Mel, but it hasn't begun yet. Does that answer your question? Good. Anything else?
Rich, you got a question for us?
What was the decision to change the buses from diesel fuel to propane, which is a more dangerous fuel?
Well, that really came down to the contract with the transportation company. We put out, we asked for bids for our transportation contract, and we got one. And that was the company we used. And we had a significant savings over time. I don't remember exactly what that was to move the buses to propane. So the dangers were discussed, and it didn't seem to be a major issue. The savings were significant because our diesel buses apparently had to start very early in the morning and run for 45 minutes just to warm up to be able to go pick up our kids. Not to mention it's bad for the environment and all those other issues. But it's really overall seemed to be a positive change. Anything else? Yes.
Decision to close Richburg Junior High or Richburg Middle School, whatever. Why couldn't they have, are the numbers that different that they feel that it's worthwhile to send them to Holland or Newtown versus really renovating the Richburg School?
Well, I'll just say again, I did not vote for this, right? So, but the idea was, I think the renovations needed at Richboro Middle School were in the range of $25 to $30 million. Right, these are big numbers that we have hundreds of millions of dollars in renovations and upkeep that we have to do to these buildings in our capital plan. But the idea was close Richboro Middle, save those capital costs, and save the operating costs associated with that. And therefore, spend the $50 million, I think it was $54 million at Holland Middle School, consolidate, and then be able to, over time, recoup those costs.
I'm just the busing and all the time and the effort for the parents and the kids and busing to get them there.
My opinion is it's probably not the right decision. But we have a lot of old buildings that have to be renovated and kept up, but it's very, very difficult. But I have to tell you, so I keep saying I'm critical of these decisions. My guiding principle behind all these decisions was we don't know where the kids are coming from. So I kept saying we're building on these middle schools and closing elementary schools, but we don't know how the feeders are happening. So to me, that's logically doesn't work for me. But that's where that comes from.
Give you a rest.
Thank you.
Have a seat there. Well, let's give Mr. Hickey an opportunity. Would you like to comment on any of these topics for us quickly? Anything you'd like to, as far as your position or your thoughts?
Real quick, I agree with a lot of what Mark said. I do have a disagreement with the sending patterns, and one of the things is I also believe that they made a mistake in trying to even out the balancing the populations at north and south. There's nothing wrong with one school having 2,000 kids and the other one having 1,600. I've been through it before when Richboro Middle School, they used to split the kids. They sent half of them to north and half of them to south. And those kids struggled. They struggled academically, they struggled emotionally at a critical time in their life. You know, they're 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. So like I said, I agree with everything Mark said, but one of the things is they made a mistake by doing this with, spending $118 million on these middle schools. I don't want to see them compound that mistake by saying, well, now that we have this school here, we have to fill it. And they're going to fill it. They talk about balance, and they always say north to south, south to north, but it's really not. It's from south to north. The majority of the kids live in Northampton Township, and I believe that Northampton schools for Northampton kids. And the reverse, too. It's nothing against Newtown or Wrightstown or anything like that. And right now, my biggest concern with this whole plan that they're coming up with now is, first of all, like I said, I sat on a committee, spent a year's worth of time. We came up with recommendations that the board looked at, and this is not anything with Mark. I don't think he was on the board at the time. They looked at them and basically threw the papers away. And now we're spending all this money, and we're making decisions based on that north-south balance, which I really don't think we have to make, and it's ending up costing the taxpayers money. The one thing that is in the plan that I don't want to see is they plan on expanding Wrightstown. Right now, it's only a K-4 school. They're planning on adding 5 more rooms to that and making it a K-6 again. Well, if they make it bigger, they're going to have to find children to fill it. And they're going to find those children from here in Richboro or Holland or Rolling Hills. To me, that's wrong, and that's one of the big things that I'm running to try to fight against, in addition to, as Mark said, all the money that they're not really saving by doing all this.
Okay, thank you. Steve, we have a question?
Yeah. Well, there's been declining enrollment since 2006 in Council Rock. Do you see that continuing? I mean, I don't know what the current projections are. They don't seem to be turning around in any way, shape, or form.
According to the demographers, at best, it's going to be staying flat for the next 5 years. Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, flat or possibly decline, but right, the enrollment over the last 10 years, it's down like 12%. So there are some changes that probably should be made. If we have a decline of 10%, then we should have other efficiencies that Mark mentioned about that we should be saving on. But at best, it's going to be flat, so I'm not sure why we're adding on to buildings in order to close a building. If you're going to close a building, we would hopefully, in my opinion, be able to put them into existing space and get that savings. But
Okay, well, thank you. You have just a follow-up?
Is there, is there a plan for what's going to happen with the building at Richboro?
no, which is another concern. Like, you know, the foresight involved. Now, Richboro Middle School is technically has not been voted on to be closed. Much like Rolling Hills, there's a process you have to follow, so they are following the process. Because Mark mentioned something, they could say, oops, we made a mistake, and change their mind, and pull back and still keep that school open. But that's another one of my concerns there. You know, Richboro Middle is scheduled to close, and now they're going through the process of closing Rolling Hills. But I haven't heard anything yet on what's the plan to do with that building. You know, do they plan on selling it? Do they plan on keeping it? Do they plan on using it for other spaces? For example, Council Rock leases space in Newtown at a cost of over $400,000 a year. You know, they should be able to move that facility out. But they don't talk about where it's going to go to or what they're going to do with the buildings, which is another thing. If you're going to make these capital plans and get rid of buildings, you don't want to be, you know, they're school directors, not real, Lynn, they're not real estate, you know. They don't want to be in the real estate business, you know, what are they going to do? What's the plan? And right now, I think if you ask them, and I think Mark would agree, there is no set plan for what they're even going to do with the buildings that they're scheduling to close.
I have a question for
Yes.
both of you. I had heard a rumor that they were considering making Richboro Middle South's football field.
I would say
Is
it's
there
probably
any
a rumor.
veracity to that?
I'd say anything's possible. There's been a lot of discussion about what's going to happen with Richboro Middle School. You know, we had a proposal to spend $22 million to move administration there, have a training center. And my reaction to that was, I want us to sell it as fast as possible, get it out of our hands before we spend $22 million on it. So we had some conversations with people in the community about maybe building a healthcare facility there to maintain the fields, things like that. The last discussion has been about using it as a staging facility. For instance, if we do the renovations and additions at Wrightstown, moving the Wrightstown kids there during that time, that would cut the construction time down from two years to 1 year. That's a positive, of course, if we're heading in that direction. And then there's other renovations that have to be done. Hillcrest needs renovations, you know, so we could move kids to that school in the interim while construction's being done more efficient in that manner and safer for the kids, obviously. So there's a lot. We want to maintain the fields. That's what we want, right? But I also don't want us to spend $22 million to do something to maintain those fields.
Is it, and maybe this is a discussion for another day, but like I look at my street itself, right? You know, all the houses were built between like 1978 and 1980. We're one of the only families that's there. Everybody else they're all original owners. And it's only a matter of time until there's kids running all up and down the street and they need schools, you know? So I'm sure that the enrollment swells and decreases and over time there's patterns. Are there studies that they've done to look at that? And because I mean, in 15 years, you can find yourself going, oh man, we need another school, you know? So what do they?
I don't know who wants to, you want to answer that one? So the demographer, we had 2 demographer studies and they were very, very close. So when you have 2 demographers who are saying the same thing, it's probably right. And they both said that they looked at patterns like that. They both said that they looked at building. Now, your supervisors may say, they missed this building over here, you know, this development over here, they missed that over here. But generally, on the average, I believe that they're probably right. Now, the question is, what if they're wrong? Then what do we do? Well, what I've been told, well, if they're wrong, we're going to build 10 more classrooms on new Wrightstown, or Richboro Elementary School. Both Richboro Elementary School and Hillcrest Elementary, when they were built with the idea that we could easily add on 10 classrooms. So there is an ability to add on there, but we shouldn't be building when we have a school with 15 classrooms that we can keep open. That's our goal.
I have one last question. This is the question I'm passionate about. What do you think of the decision of the administration to hire a spin doctor for publicity and public relations to the tune of $100,000 plus Bennings?
I can't say exactly about the spin doctor. I did have a concern, though, when they made changes in the administration. Like I said, there's a 10% decline in the population. There should be a 10% decline across the board. And I know one of the things they did was they combined, there used to be an elementary school director and then a secondary school director, and they combined that position into one, which you would have thought, okay, that saved the position. You know, they moved some people around. But then what they did was they hired an assistant superintendent. So in reality, they didn't save any money. They still had the same number of administrative people. Mark would know possibly better than me whether or not that administration person was absolutely necessary. But I know that we've gone without, you know, we had not one before, and if you're going to have a decline, then, you know, we have to start looking at some of the administrative positions. You know, everybody talks about doing stuff with the teachers now. Granted, they haven't laid off any teachers, but what they do is, you know, the teachers retire and they're not necessarily equally replaced, so the staff ends up going down. But I haven't really seen anything administratively where there's been any cuts or reductions.
Can I comment on that? Do you mind? Just one.
As I said, you're more
well
versed.
I will say that I am the first one to point out issues that I don't agree with. But this administration is our Council Rock administration is the leanest administration probably in the state of Pennsylvania. When we compare it to other districts of the same size, we are significantly smaller. Our previous superintendent, Mark Klein, did everything from communications to the public, to capital planning, to teaching and learning. So, and when you have one person doing everything, a lot of things fall through the cracks. So our new superintendent, Dr. Frazier, we hired him primarily because he was very strong in curriculum, very strong in teaching and learning, because what we do is educate our children, right? So when we spend all of our time talking about buildings and finances, these things get pushed to the wayside. So Dr. Frazier very brightly came to us and said, we want to combine these two positions. We had elementary school education and secondary school education, and we want to combine those, and we'll free up one space. I want to hire an assistant superintendent who is just going to focus on teaching and learning. And we went out and interviewed for that position, and this woman is excellent, and we've done really, really wonderful things that go directly right back to the classroom. The other thing about the public relations person, I think it's a valuable addition to this, to our district. I think it's worth every penny, Steve, because we have not done a great job of communicating things to the public. And this is what's going on with our redistricting and our school closures is a perfect example, because all along the process, people felt blindsided. They kept saying, we feel blindsided, we feel blindsided. And we also want our administrator, we want our two key administrators, our superintendent and our assistant superintendent, to focus on the kids, right? Not on capital planning and writing emails and worrying about promoting the district and things like that. So I think this woman, I sat in the interviews, she came from a neighboring school district, but she did a wonderful job there. I think she's one of the great things here.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to move on to one. We're going to change categories. How about any questions for the supervisors? If we could, we'll try to get back to you. Any questions for the supervisors?
Yeah, can we get some comments about things like road paving, trash collection, and so forth? What are the statuses? The building over at the the status of all the buildings going on in the municipal center.
You want the 30-second version of that?
I love the 30 seconds.
As opposed to the school district.
I think that if you look at what's happened with roads, starting again in January of 2014, supervisors took a very serious look at that. As a matter of fact, I think it was 2 years ago, they did 17 miles of roads total. This year, it's 5.6 miles. I don't see that going down. I think we're going to try and maintain that. Of course, depending upon where you are, you love the roads because yours were just done, or you hate them because you're still on the waiting list. But, if you start looking at why townships came into existence, one of the first jobs out there was the roadmaster. And it's really key that we meet those objectives and keep, you know, keep that construction schedule probably at about 5.6 miles. I think that does it. Doesn't that give us about
really
another
need
20?
to do, if you have a road lasts 20 years, you really need to do 5 or 6 miles a
Yeah.
year.
So that's what's happening with that. What was the other parts of your question?
Construction at the township.
Construction of the township. We're moving forward with the police building. The municipal authority will be moving out of that building sometime in the next number of months. I'm not sure we have a firm date on that yet. I know as a result of their last meeting, they're working on a plan to develop what they think is a reasonable time schedule, and then they'll work with the township because the township has to figure out when they're going to move the police over there and when they're going to start construction. The police building will be larger than the existing one, obviously, because of the need. One of the things that they've added in there, and I think it's a good thing from talking to the chief, is they've added a range. And that'll mean that our officers can be pulled off the road, go in there and do whatever qualification they need to do and get back out on the road, rather than losing a whole shift going somewhere else. That's one of the benefits of that. And there's some other advantages, some of the things that they've looked at that will go into that building. The old police building more than likely will be knocked down. We're looking at the possibility of somehow or another having a parking lot there combined with the old Carrier Times building, and see what that would do, you know, making that a commercial piece. Public Works, we're just about done everything we need to do there. I expect that that should be wrapping up maybe the end of the month or so. Sound about right to you?
Yeah.
So, the Public Works building, we've got some things that done in there that I think needed to be done. I've made a comment about Public Works and what they do with their equipment over there. I spent a lot of time in Army motor pools, and I can tell you, if you come into our operation there, it rivals the best of them. There's a lot of pride. Now they have room to do things. They can wash the vehicles inside in the winter, which is a good thing. So we've made progress on that.
The Carrier Times building still up for sale?
Yes, it is.
Maybe somebody needs to get Lynn Keller involved.
Yeah.
Okay, young lady, Kristen?
I have a question for Frank, or any of the supervisors. Can you comment about what is happening with the barrels out here out front of Giuseppe's? I happen to live right here on Alms House Road.
I can explain it if it'll help.
Well, I think we've heard a little bit about it at the supervisors meeting, but has anybody looked at different options, like moving the barrels out of the lane and putting it in the middle lane? Because I feel like that's where a lot of the accidents were coming from, because all that did is just continue the backup of the traffic all the way down, like,
I think there was an unintended consequence. People, and we've all seen accidents, I know. Matter of fact, I was in one where somebody decides they're going to go like a bat out of hell to try and beat the light. And that's what was happening in that lane. People were coming up there, speeding, trying to beat the light so they could make the turn. And then, there were people trying to get over into the driveway to go into Giuseppe's and other places. There were too many accidents. So this is a temporary solution. We believe that once the work is completed on the other side of the road, the Newtown-Richboro side of the road, where that lane actually will go almost up right to the Times building. When that lane is completed, it's going to go past the firehouse. You're then going to have 2 lanes crossing. That should relieve some of that, but it also should be traffic calming to prevent people from speeding up there and trying to get through. So that's what they're there to do now. That was the work of our traffic engineers and PennDOT, and I think as Bob Pellegrino said, that was the best, the most reasonable, and the cheapest solution to put in there on a temporary basis.
I have a question. Is the Water and Sewer Authority, is that a separate entity, or is that under the auspices of this?
It is a separate entity. The supervisors appoint the members of that board, and they are then responsible for they are responsible for running the municipal authority. We do not tell them what to do.
Andrew, you want to comment?
Yeah, to tie sort of Steve's question and Kristen's question and Frank's comments. So with the construction going on, traffic has become an issue. We build more businesses, more traffic comes, traffic out here. So tonight at the Planning Commission, if you are free, we are having the traffic engineer come in and hopefully explain some of the decisions and some of the the plans for future road improvements. So if you were free, you can come out and hear them speak as well.
Before we go to the lightning
What time?
round,
7:30.
final question. Quick announcement. Our business association has been given thought to doing some more advertisement for our association and for our members. So with that in mind, we have set up a partnership with the Northampton Township Library. And basically what we're doing is working with the library to see if businesses want to join. So for $50, and we have applications as you can leave, for $50 you become a friend of the library and a business member, directory member. So the bottom line is, and then the advertising the members are going to get is that in the library newsletters that go out, you're going to be listed as a friend of the library. On the website, you're going to be listed as a friend of the library. In the library, in the coffee shop, they're going to list the businesses that are signing up to be members on the business directory. And on the TV, as you go to the front desk, they're going to be listing. So we're trying to do that as something for our business members to join and also to help the library in all their efforts. So it's $50. There's an application. Please consider taking it on with you. Library is also having a gala in October. There's a flyer about that for anyone who would like to go. It's a nice synergy for our business association, for our members to get out there, meet the public, and also help the library with their good endeavors. All right, lightning round. Miriam, you have a question?
I do. I can't make the meeting tonight, but
Okay.
could you take into consideration Temperance Lane and Alms House Road
Certainly.
also?
It'll be on TV.
Because
Yeah.
you could kill yourself trying to make a left over.
Yeah, if the
And
light was there instead of down there, that would solve both
as well
problems.
as making a left out of
Because you
Giuseppe's
can't get out of
parking lot. It's
Temperance
horrendous.
Lane now at rush hour.
Right.
Because you've got two lanes funneling into one, so there's not even like a half an inch to
So
get
if the
out.
light was at Temperance rather than at the, solve both problems.
Perhaps we could, in Philadelphia, they have a don't block the box concept.
That's not good. That's not good.
This young lady, who's
They
been
also have a
patiently waiting, you have a
bike
question?
lane,
Go ahead. Your question?
I just wanted to know, why is there no recourse, and it's for the school board pretty much, why is there no recourse against tenured teachers who are blatantly incompetent and not only the residents acknowledge it, but fellow teachers as well as principals acknowledge it, and they just keep ruining the kids' grades because nobody will do anything to get rid of
How many
them.
questions to ask?
I know who she's talking to. I think we're out of time. That is such a big question, and it really comes down to union representation, what can be done on so many levels with disciplinary. I mean, we obviously can remove teachers. It's very, very good.
I know, but there's certain teachers in the high school that everybody knows are just, and Bob and I were talking about it earlier, because there's certain teachers, everybody knows that they're incompetent. And if your kid gets them, good luck. Go spend a fortune for tutors, and they'll still get a C. Just because and nobody can do anything to them.
Well, we can't do merit pay, we can't, and as long as they're doing their job and they're not, there's nothing
Well, they're not doing their
egregious.
job, that's the problem.
As long as they're not violating any rules, let's put it that way, then there's nothing to do about it.
Hey, Mark, does anybody want to know what prothonotary is? Can you tell us what prothonotary is? I can tell you, I see her at the courthouse all the time working hard, and she's going to give new meaning to the word prothonotary, or whatever it means. Okay. Any other questions, lightning round? Let's finish up, get everybody out of here, go as 9 o'clock as we can. Steve?
Sure, I just have one thing for people. If you want to send information to the board, you don't necessarily, to the school board, you don't necessarily have to go to a meeting. There is an email that the message goes to all school board members as well as the administration. And the email is boardmembers@crsd.org. So you can be assured that if you're sending it to one school board member and you're not sure they're going to respond, which I haven't seen in all my years, you can get it to everybody and let them know. Because, as somebody said, the school district, I've been complaining about, that's why I asked the question about the PR thing. Because I've been complaining for years that they think they have this great deal with a listserv that has 10,000 members and so forth. At best, that's 20% of the school community. So get on your email, get this in your email, and start pounding them.
All right, final question. Who wants it? Who wants it? Final question. Anybody? Good, go on, sold. Turn it over to Kristen.
Okay, guys, so wanted to get you out on time, because it's hard to keep everyone on that time limit to 9 o'clock. So 2 things. What's happening next month? So we have our happy hour. It's going to be on October 4th. It's going to be at the Toll Brothers Sample House. So from 5 to 7, come on over. It's on Hatboro Road. 5 to 7 is happy hour. And we will have the Democratic candidates, same place, on October 10th at 7:30 a.m. Here, at Giuseppe's, same forum. So sign up. You'll be getting that e-bike coming up from Steve shortly. And that is all I have. So if you didn't grab an agenda, the reason I point this out is our email address is on the bottom. So if you don't know the email address to email the business association, grab this on your way out. There's plenty of them. It goes right to several of us. We can respond pretty much any time, right?
Right.
All right, thank you everybody. Thanks for coming.